The train window reflected a ghost. Emma Grace Harper pressed her palm against the frozen glass and watched her own face disappear into the Montana snow. 19 years old, sold for $40 and a promise that her aunt would never have to look at her again. The telegram crumpled in her coat pocket read like a livestock auction notice: widower, 5 children, needs woman immediately. Not a wife, not even a companion, just woman. As if she were furniture being shipped to fill an empty space. What waited at the end of this journey would shatter every assumption Emma had built about her worthless life. But she did not know that yet. All she knew was the cold, the fear, and the weight of her mother's shawl wrapped tight around her shoulders. The only thing left from a life that felt like it belonged to someone else. The conductor touched her elbow. Miss, end of the line, Clearwater Station. Emma gathered her single carpet bag. Everything she owned in this world fit inside it. She had learned long ago not to accumulate possessions. Things could be taken away. People could be taken away. Better to travel light, to expect nothing, to hope for even less. The Montana cold hit her like a physical blow when she stepped onto the platform. This was not Missouri winter. This was something older, something meaner. The kind of cold that settled into bones and made a home there. Emma's thin coat might as well have been paper. A man stood at the far end of the platform, tall, broad-shouldered, dark hair streaked with silver at the temples. Even from a distance, Emma could see the hardness in him, the way he held himself like a wall built against the world. He approached. Emma forced herself to stand straight to meet his eyes, even though everything in her wanted to look down, to make herself smaller, to disappear. Emma Harper. It was not a question. His voice was rough like gravel under wagon wheels. Yes, sir. William Thornton. He looked her up and down. Clinical. Assessing. The way her aunt's husband used to assess horses at market. You are younger than I expected. I am 19, sir. Like the telegram said. Telegram said capable woman. You look like a strong wind would carry you off. Heat rose to Emma's cheeks despite the cold. I am stronger than I look. You had better be. He reached for her bag. She noticed his hands then. Scarred, calloused, hands that knew work, knew pain, knew loss. He did not wait to see if she followed, just turned and walked toward a wagon at the end of the street. Emma had no choice but to hurry after him, her boots slipping on ice. The wagon was simple, functional. 2 horses stamped and snorted clouds of breath into the frigid air. William tossed her bag into the back without ceremony. Can you climb up yourself? Yes, sir. She could, she did. The wooden seat burned cold through her skirt, but she did not complain. Complaining had never helped. That was a lesson learned young and learned hard. William climbed up beside her and took the reins. For a long moment, he just sat there staring at the white road that stretched toward distant mountains. I need to make something clear. His voice was flat. You are here to cook, clean, and mind the children. Nothing more. You will have your own room. I will not bother you, and you will not bother me. Understood. Understood. The children. He stopped, his jaw tightened. They have been through hell. Their mama died 14 months ago. They do not need complications. They do not need someone who is going to leave when things get hard. I have nowhere else to go, Mr. Thornton. Something flickered in his dark eyes, recognition maybe, or just the acknowledgement that they were both trapped in their own ways. Good. Then we understand each other. He clicked his tongue. The horses started moving. The town of Clearwater fell away behind them, swallowed by snow and distance. They rode in silence for nearly an hour. The landscape was brutal in its beauty. Endless white punctuated by dark pines. Mountains that looked like the bones of the world pushing through skin. Emma had never seen anything so vast, so empty. Missouri had been green and close. This was exposure. This was the kind of place where you could disappear and no one would ever find you. How did you end up in this situation? William asked suddenly. Girl your age being sent off to a stranger. Emma kept her eyes on the white road ahead. My folks died when I was 12. Fever took them both in the same week. I went to live with my Aunt Victoria. She got remarried last spring. Her new husband did not want another mouth to feed. She paused. The pain was old now, worn smooth by years of carrying it. He saw your advertisement in the paper. Said it was the perfect solution to his problem. His problem. William repeated the words slowly. That is what you were. A problem. That is what I have always been, Mr. Thornton. Just a problem looking for somewhere to land. William said nothing, but something in the set of his shoulders shifted. Not softer exactly, just less rigid, as if her honesty had cracked something open. The ranch appeared through the snow like a ghost materializing from fog. Dark shapes, a house, a barn, several smaller buildings Emma could not identify in the failing light. This is it. Before the wagon had fully stopped, the front door of the house burst open. A small figure came running through the snow. A boy, maybe 4 years old. His coat hung open and his feet were bare. Papa, Papa, you are back. William was off the wagon in an instant, scooping the child up, holding him against his chest. Daniel James Thornton, where are your shoes? Where is your coat buttoned? You trying to freeze to death? I wanted to see you, Papa. The boy buried his face in his father's neck. I missed you. Something cracked in Emma's chest, the way this hard man softened when he held his son. The desperation in the child's voice, the weight of 14 months of grief hanging over this place like a second winter. Who is that? The boy had spotted Emma. His eyes went wide. Papa, who is that lady? This is Miss Emma. She is going to be staying with us, helping around the house. Is she our new mama? The question hung in the frozen air. Number. William's voice was firm. She is not your mama. She is just here to help. Now let us get inside before you catch your death. Emma climbed down from the wagon, her legs stiff and aching. She followed William toward the house, the little boy peering at her over his father's shoulder with curious eyes. The door opened again before they reached it. A girl this time. Older, maybe 11, with dark hair and her father's sharp features. Papa, I told him to stay inside. Her voice was defensive, worried. He would not listen. I know Hannah. It is all right. The girl's eyes found Emma and immediately hardened. Who is she? Mind your manners. This is Miss Emma. She is going to be helping us. We do not need help. Hannah's chin lifted. We have been managing fine. Inside. William's voice left no room for argument. The warmth of the house hit Emma like a wave. She stood just inside the door, dripping snow onto wooden floors, and tried to take in her new reality. The main room was large but cluttered. Dishes stacked by a basin. Laundry draped over chairs. Toys scattered across the floor. A fire burned low in the hearth, barely giving enough heat. And there were children everywhere. Besides Hannah and the little boy, Emma counted 3 more. A boy about 9 sitting at the table with a book. A girl perhaps 7 holding a doll and watching Emma with wary eyes. And a baby maybe 18 months sitting on a blanket by the fire chewing on a wooden block. 5 children. 5 motherless children in a house that had forgotten how to function. This is Benjamin, William nodded toward the reading boy. He is 9. Sophie there is 7. And the baby is Rosie. She is nearly 2. She is not a baby anymore, Papa, Hannah corrected. She is walking and everything now. You have met Daniel. He is 4. William's voice caught slightly. And Hannah is 11. She has been running things since her mama passed. I have been doing everything, Hannah muttered. Emma looked at this 11-year-old girl who had clearly been carrying the weight of an entire household on her thin shoulders, saw the exhaustion in her eyes, the way her hands trembled even as she held them rigid at her sides. That must have been hard. Emma kept her voice quiet, taking care of everyone. Hannah's eyes snapped to her. Suspicious. I managed. I can see that. Emma held the girl's gaze. I am not here to take over. I am just here to help you. For a moment, something flickered in Hannah's expression. Then it was gone, replaced by the same hard mask. We do not need your help. But this time it sounded less like a statement and more like a prayer. William showed Emma to her room, a small space off the main area with a narrow bed, a chest, and a wash basin. Clean but bare. Functional. This was. He stopped. His hand trembled slightly as it rested on the doorframe. It is clean. There are extra blankets in the chest. Thank you, Mr. Thornton. He nodded once and left without another word. Emma sat on the edge of the bed and let out a breath she felt like she had been holding since Missouri. Her hands were shaking. From cold or fear or exhaustion, she could not tell anymore. Through the thin walls, she could hear the family moving around. William's low voice, Hannah arguing about something, Daniel chattering, the baby starting to fuss. This was her life now. These strangers, This cold house, this arrangement that felt more like a transaction than a beginning. $40. That was what she was worth. $40 and the promise of someone to cook and clean. Emma pulled her mother's shawl from her bag and pressed it against her face. The scent had long since faded, but the gesture was familiar, comforting. She did not cry. She had taught herself not to cry years ago, but she let herself grieve for just a moment, for the girl she used to be and the woman she was being forced to become. Then she stood up, straightened her dress, and walked out to face her new reality. The kitchen was chaos. Hannah was trying to cook something on the stove, but whatever was in the pot had burned and was smoking. Benjamin had abandoned his book to try to calm the crying baby. Daniel was underfoot everywhere, asking questions nobody had time to answer. And Sophie, the 7-year-old with the doll, had retreated to a corner, watching everything with eyes that seemed far too old for her face. I cannot do everything. Hannah's voice cracked with frustration. Benjamin, can you make Rosie stop crying? I am trying. Try harder. Hannah, I am hungry. Daniel whined. When is supper? When I finish cooking it, if everyone would just stop. She saw Emma in the doorway and her face flushed red. Can I help? Everyone went still. I know my way around a kitchen. Emma kept her voice gentle. If you want, I can take over supper. You could rest a spell. Hannah's grip tightened on the wooden spoon. Her face was a mix of pride and shame at being caught struggling. I said we do not need help. Hannah, Emma's voice was gentle but firm. You have been carrying this family for 14 months. That is more than any grown woman should have to do, let alone a girl your age. I am not trying to take your place. I am just offering to carry some of the weight. The spoon trembled in Hannah's hand. Mama used to say, her voice cracked. She stopped, swallowed hard. Mama used to say I was her best helper. I bet you were. I bet you still are. But even the best helpers need help sometimes. For a long moment, Hannah just stood there. Then slowly she held out the spoon. Emma took it. Their fingers touched briefly. Hannah's were red and raw from cold and work. Emma's were still numb from the journey. The stew is burned, Hannah said quietly. That is all right. We will start fresh. Emma worked in the kitchen while the children watched. She moved with quiet efficiency, scraping out the burned pot, finding ingredients in the sparse pantry, starting over from nothing. Her mother had taught her this. How to make something from almost nothing. How to feed people even when resources were scarce. You know how to cook, Benjamin observed. He had put down his book and was watching her with cautious interest. My mama taught me before she passed, said a woman who can feed people will never be truly alone. Our mama was the best cook, Daniel announced. She made the best biscuits in the whole territory. That is what Papa says. I am sure she did, sweetheart. Are you going to make biscuits? Not tonight, but maybe tomorrow if your papa has flour enough. He does. Hannah had settled at the table. Though her posture was still stiff, some of the fight had gone out of her eyes. Mama always kept plenty of flour. I have been trying to keep it stocked like she did. That is good thinking. Your mama raised a smart girl. Hannah looked away quickly, but not before Emma saw the shine of tears she was fighting back. The back door opened and William entered, stomping snow from his boots. He stopped when he saw Emma at the stove, his expression unreadable. Hannah showed me where everything is, Emma said before he could ask. Supper should be ready in about half an hour. William looked at Hannah, who shrugged one shoulder. She asked if she could help. I let her. Something passed between father and daughter, a silent communication Emma could not read. Then William nodded and went to hang up his coat. Benjamin, did you finish your reading? Yes, sir. Hannah, did you do Sophie's lesson? Yes, sir. She is getting better at her letters. Good. William moved to the fire and added another log. The baby Rosie had stopped crying and was now reaching up toward him with chubby arms. He picked her up and settled her against his hip with the ease of long practice. Emma watched this man who had begun her services like one might buy a plow horse, who spoke to her in clipped sentences and looked at her like she was a problem to be managed, but who softened with his children, whose rough hands became gentle when they touched small heads, whose hard voice dropped to something almost tender when he said their names. He was broken. That much was clear. Broken by grief and exhaustion in the impossible task of raising 5 children alone. But he was trying, Lord, he was trying. Supper was quiet but not uncomfortable. The children ate with the single-minded focus of people who were genuinely hungry. Emma noticed how Hannah made sure everyone had food before taking any for herself. How Benjamin cut Daniel's meat into small pieces without being asked. How Sophie fed bits of bread to the baby while keeping one hand on her doll. They had learned to take care of each other because they had to, because there was no one else. "This is good," William said suddenly. He did not look at Emma when he said it, just kept his eyes on his plate. Different from, he stopped. Tried again. "It is good. Thank you, Mr. Thornton. You put time in it." "Yes, sir. Found some dried in the pantry." Catherine used. He stopped again. His hand tightened on his fork. "My wife used thyme." The silence that followed was thick with grief. "I can use different spices," Emma offered quietly, "if it is too much." "No," William's voice was rough. "Do not change it. It is good to remember." After supper, Emma cleaned while William put the younger children to bed. She could hear him in the back rooms, his deep voice soft as he settled each child. A story for Daniel, a lullaby for Rosie, quiet words for Sophie that Emma could not make out. Benjamin and Hannah stayed up doing something with a slate and chalk at the table. Lessons. Their mother had started it, and their father was keeping it going. "You can read," Benjamin said suddenly. He was watching Emma with those sharp, assessing eyes that reminded her so much of his father. "I can. Most women out here cannot." "Not really. My mama thought it was important. She taught me herself. Our mama thought it was important too." Benjamin paused. She was teaching Hannah to read from real books, not just primers. They were working through Pilgrim's Progress when he stopped. Hannah's pencil went still on her slate. "That is a hard book," Emma said carefully. "Your mama must have been very proud of how smart you all are." "She was." Hannah's voice was barely a whisper. "She told us every day." The words hung in the air heavy with everything that had been lost. "I could help with the lessons." Emma dried her hands and moved toward the table. "I mean, if you wanted. I know I am not your mama, and I am not trying to be. But I can read and I know my numbers, and maybe I could just—" "We do not need help," Hannah started to say. "Maybe let her finish." Benjamin's voice was quiet but firm. Hannah pressed her lips together but did not argue. "I just mean," Emma continued, "you have been doing everything for 14 months. Teaching the little ones cooking, cleaning, caring for the baby. That is too much for one person. Even the strongest person I know could not do all that alone forever." "Who is the strongest person you know?" Daniel's voice came from the doorway. He was supposed to be in bed, but he stood there in his nightshirt clutching a worn stuffed horse. "Daniel, Papa told you to go to sleep," Hannah said. "I am not tired." "Who is the strongest person you know, Miss Emma?" Emma knelt down so she was at eye level with the boy. "My mama. She raised me all on her own after my daddy died, and she never complained once. She worked from sunup to sundown, and she still found time to teach me to read and cook and sew. She used to say that strong people are not the ones who never fall down. They are the ones who keep getting back up." Daniel considered this with the seriousness of a 4-year-old contemplating great philosophy. "My mama was strong too," he said finally. "She got real sick, but she kept smiling at us. Even at the end, Papa said she was smiling when she went to heaven." Emma felt her throat tighten. "She sounds like a wonderful mama. She was the best." Daniel hugged his stuffed horse tighter. "Are you going to stay, Miss Emma?" The other lady did not stay. Emma's eyes shot to Hannah, who had gone pale. "What other lady? Mrs. Patterson from town," Benjamin said flatly. "She came for 3 weeks after Mama died. Said we were too wild and too much trouble. Left in the middle of the night." "We are not wild," Daniel protested. "We are good." "Are we not good?" "You are very good," Emma said firmly. "Any fool can see that." "Then why did she leave?" The question cut straight through Emma's chest. This little boy asking why someone had abandoned him, just like Emma had asked herself 1,000 times over the years. "Sometimes," Emma said slowly, "people leave because they are not strong enough to stay. It is not about whether you are good or bad. It is about whether they have the strength to love you through the hard times. Are you strong enough?" Emma looked at this small, earnest face, at the older children watching her with guarded hope they were trying to hide, at this broken house full of broken hearts. "I reckon we will find out. But I will tell you this much. I do not have anywhere else to go, and I do not have anyone else who needs me. So I figure I might as well stay here and be needed by you. Promise." Daniel held out his pinky finger. Emma looked at that tiny finger for a long moment. Making a promise to a child was not something to do lightly. Children remembered promises. Children counted on them. She hooked her pinky around his. Promise. Later, after Daniel had finally been coaxed back to bed, and Benjamin and Hannah had finished their lessons and retreated to their rooms, Emma sat alone in the quiet kitchen. The fire had burned low. The house had settled into the creaks and sighs of an old building holding against the cold. Outside, the wind howled and snow continued to fall. Emma pulled a folded piece of paper from her pocket. She had found it earlier tucked in the flour tin. The handwriting was feminine, careful, deliberate. For whoever finds this, the sourdough starter is in the blue crock. Feed it every 3 days. The children love sourdough pancakes on Sunday mornings. It makes them smile. Emma read the words again and again. A woman who had known she was dying. A woman who had left notes around her kitchen, hoping someone would find them. Hoping someone would keep her family fed. Keep her children smiling. Keep the small traditions alive. Emma pressed the note against her heart and made a silent promise. Not to the children this time, but to the ghost of the woman who had loved them first. I will take care of them, she thought. I will learn what they need. I will keep them smiling. She did not know if she could, did not know if she was strong enough, good enough, capable enough, but she was going to try. The bedroom door opened and William stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable in the dim light. You are still up, just finishing some cleaning, Mr. Thornton. He nodded but did not leave. For a moment he just stood there looking at her like he was trying to solve a puzzle. Daniel says you made a promise to stay. Emma's heart stuttered. I did. You should not have done that. He will hold you to it, I know. And if you leave anyway, if it gets too hard and you run off like Mrs. Patterson. Emma stood and met his dark eyes directly. Then I will be breaking my word to a child who has already had too much broken. I know exactly what that means, Mr. Thornton. I am not the kind of woman who makes promises she cannot keep. William studied her for a long moment. Why did you really come here, he asked, finally. Pretty girl like you, young as you are, you could have found work somewhere easier. A shop in town, a hotel, something that did not involve being stuck on a ranch in the middle of nowhere with a broken-down widower and 5 children, because no one else wanted me. The words came out before Emma could stop them. Raw, honest, because I have spent 7 years being told I was worthless, because my aunt's husband looked at me like I was dirt on his shoe and said I was lucky anyone would take me at all. Because, she stopped, drew a breath, because when I read that telegram, I thought maybe I could be useful here. Maybe I could matter to someone, even if it was just for cooking and cleaning, even if it was just being another pair of hands. It would be more than I was before, more than nothing. William was quiet for a long time. You are not nothing, he said finally. His voice was gruff, almost grudging. Anyone who told you that was a damn fool. It was the kindest thing anyone had said to Emma in years. Thank you, Mr. Thornton. He nodded once. Breakfast is at dawn. Do not be late. Then he was gone, disappearing into his room and closing the door behind him. Emma stood alone in the quiet house, surrounded by the sleeping breaths of 5 children, in the howling wind, and the ghost of a woman who had loved this family. Tomorrow she would learn the rhythms of this place, learn what each child needed, learn how to exist in this strange new life. But tonight she let herself feel something she had not felt in a very long time. Hope, small and fragile as a candle flame in a blizzard, but there nonetheless. She was here, she was needed, she had made a promise. And Emma Grace Harper was not the kind of woman who broke her promises. Dawn came with the sound of a baby crying. Emma was out of bed before her eyes were fully open, her feet hitting the cold floor, her body moving toward the sound before her mind caught up. She found Rosie standing in her crib, face-red tears streaming down her cheeks. Shh, little one. Shh. Emma lifted the baby and felt the heat radiating from her small body. Wet diaper, empty belly, 14 months of waking up without a mother's arms. I have got you, Emma whispered. I have got you now. You are not supposed to touch her. Emma turned. Hannah stood in the doorway, her dark hair tangled from sleep, her eyes hard. She was crying. I always get her in the morning. That is my job. I did not mean to step on your toes, Hannah. I just heard her. And you heard her. Hannah crossed the room and held out her arms. Give her to me. Emma hesitated. The baby had stopped crying. Her small fist was curled around Emma's collar, holding tight. Hannah, I think she is content now. Maybe we could both take care of her. Give her to me, please. Emma handed Rosie over. The moment she did, the baby started wailing again, reaching back toward Emma with desperate hands. Hannah's face crumpled. Just for a second. Then the hard mask was back. She does not know what she wants, Hannah said, her voice tight. She is just confused. I am sure that is all it is. But they both knew it was not. 3 weeks had passed since Emma arrived. 3 weeks of finding notes hidden throughout the house. 3 weeks of learning each child's rhythms, their fears, their small joys. 3 weeks of watching William watch her when he thought she was not looking. The morning started like any other. Benjamin reading at the table while Emma made breakfast. Hannah teaching Sophie her letters. Daniel running circles around the main room with his stuffed horse. Rosie babbling in her high chair. But there was something different in the air. A tension Emma could not name. William came in from the barn, his face drawn. Storm coming? Big one. I need Benjamin to check the north fence line before it hits. Benjamin looked up from his book, trying to hide his excitement at being given a man's job. Yes, sir. When should I leave now? But stay close. I mean it, Ben. Check the fence and come straight back. Do not try to be a hero. I will not, Papa. Emma watched the boy pull on his coat and boots. Something twisted in her gut. A premonition she could not shake. Mr. Thornton, maybe I should go with him. Just to be safe. William shook his head. He knows the land. He will be fine. It is only a mile out and back. Benjamin left. Emma tried to focus on breakfast, on the children, on the normal rhythms of the day. But that twist in her gut would not ease. An hour passed, then 2. The storm hit faster than anyone expected. One moment the sky was gray and waiting. The next the world disappeared into white. William was at the window, his face pale. He should have been back by now. Maybe he found shelter. Emma tried to keep her voice steady. Maybe he is waiting it out, where there is nothing between here and that fence line but the old shepherd's cabin. He would not even know to look for it. Then we go get him. William was already pulling on his coat. You stay here with the children. No, Emma was moving before she thought about it. Hannah, you are in charge. Keep everyone inside. Keep them warm. We will be back soon. Hannah's face was white with fear, but she nodded. Emma grabbed her thin coat. William looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. You will freeze to death in that. Then we better hurry. They rode out into the storm together. The wind cut through Emma's coat like it was nothing. The snow was so thick she could barely see William's back ahead of her. But she did not slow down. Could not slow down. Benjamin, William's voice tore through the white void. Benjamin. Nothing, just wind and snow and the terrible silence of a child who might be dying in the cold. The old shepherd's cabin. Emma shouted over the wind. Hannah mentioned it once, said it was near a stand of pines that looked like fingers pointing at the sky. William turned his horse. You remember that I remember everything the children tell me. They found the pines. Found the cabin. William burst through the door first, and Emma heard him make a sound she would never forget. Part relief, part anguish, pure fear. Benjamin was huddled in the corner, shivering so hard his teeth rattled. His lips were blue. His eyes were glassy. Papa. The word came out as barely a whisper. I am here, son. I am here. William gathered the boy in his arms, and Emma saw tears streaming down his weathered face. I have got you. I have got you now. I tried to come back. Benjamin gasped, but I could not see, could not find the way. I thought I was going to die. Shh. Do not think about that. You are safe now. You are safe. Emma was already stripping off her coat, wrapping it around the boy, using her body heat to warm him. We need to get him home fast. He is hypothermic. They rode back through the storm with Benjamin bundled between them, sharing their warmth, praying they were not too late. When they burst through the door of the ranch house, Hannah took one look at her brother and burst into tears. Is he going to die? No, Emma's voice was firm. Get blankets, hot water bottles, everything warm you can find. What followed was the longest night of Emma's life. She sat beside Benjamin's bed for hours, warming him slowly, watching his color return, listening to his breathing stabilize. William stayed too unable to leave his hand gripping his son's. Near midnight, Benjamin's eyes fluttered open. Miss Emma, I am here, sweetheart. You came for me. You came out in the storm. Of course I did. Mrs. Patterson would not have done that. His voice was weak but certain. She was scared of the cold, scared of everything. Well, I am not Mrs. Patterson. Number Benjamin's hand found hers and squeezed weakly. You are ours. Emma felt tears burn her eyes. Yeah, she whispered. I reckon I am. Across the bed, William watched this exchange with an expression Emma could not read. Thank you, he said quietly. For saving my son, I did not do it alone. No, you did not. His grip tightened on Benjamin's other hand. We make a good team, Miss Emma. Emma, just Emma. Something shifted in his dark eyes, Emma. Her name on his lips sounded different than it had before. Warmer, more intimate, like something had changed between them out there in the storm. Some barrier broken down by shared fear and shared purpose. Emma did not pull her hand away. Neither did William. And in the quiet room with a sleeping child between them and four more dreaming safely down the hall, something new and fragile began to grow. Benjamin recovered slowly, 3 days in bed fighting a cough that rattled in his chest, but alive, breathing, safe. Then Daniel developed a fever. Emma felt her blood turn to ice when she pressed her hand to the 4-year-old's forehead and felt the heat radiating from his skin. Not again. Hannah's voice was barely a whisper. Not like Mama. This is not like your mother. Emma kept her voice firm. This is fever. We can fight fever. By evening, Sophie had joined Daniel. Both children burning up their small bodies, fighting an enemy Emma could not see. William paced like a caged animal. 3 of them. How do I? We cannot. We can and we will. Emma was already organizing. Hannah, I need you to boil water. Mr. Thornton, get the willow bark from the cellar. Move. What followed were 3 days that blurred together in an endless cycle of cooling cloths, medicine prayer. Emma worked without stopping. 48 hours awake. 72. She lost count. Daniel was the worst. His fever spiked so high, he started having delusions. I want Mama, he sobbed. I want my real Mama. Emma felt the words cut into her heart like knives, but she did not stop. I know, sweetheart. I know you miss her. But I am here. I have got you. I am not going anywhere. You are not Mama. No, I am not. But I love you just as much as she did. And I am going to fight for you just as hard. Promise, I promise. I will never stop fighting for you. Not ever. Sophie was quieter in her suffering. She did not cry, did not complain, just lay there watching Emma with fever-bright eyes. Am I going to die? She asked on the second night. Emma's breath caught. No, sweetheart. You are not going to die. Mary Henderson died. I heard Papa say so. You are stronger than Mary Henderson. You have already beat one fever. You can beat this one too. How do you know? Because I will not let you go. And I am very stubborn. A ghost of a smile crossed Sophie's pale face. Mama said you were stubborn in one of her notes. She said whoever came after her would need to be stubborn because Thorntons do not make anything easy. Emma laughed despite everything. She was right about that. Hour 60? Emma was swaying with exhaustion. William forced her to sit. You are no good to them if you collapse. For a moment, Emma let herself lean against him. Let herself feel the weight of 3 days pressing down. I cannot lose them. Her voice broke. I promised Daniel. I promised. William held her. We will not lose them. You will not let us. 3 a.m. on day 4. Daniel's fever spiked again, dangerously high. Emma and William worked together in desperate silence. Cool baths, medicine, prayer. Daniel semi-conscious, his small body trembling. Mama Emma. The words were slurred, delirious. Mama Emma, do not leave me. Emma's tears fell onto the child's burning skin. I am right here, baby. I am not going anywhere. William stood across from her, watching, seeing, understanding. Marry me. Emma looked up, certain she had misheard. What marry me? William's voice was rough, raw. I do not want to wait. I do not want to waste another day. Marry me now, Emma. Tomorrow. As soon as we can get to town. You are not thinking clearly. You are exhausted. I've been thinking about this for weeks. He moved around the bed, took her face in his hands. I love you. My children love you. Catherine would have loved you. Emma felt the words land in her chest like stones dropped into still water. Marry me. Be theirs. Be mine. Yes. The word came out on a breath. Yes. Tomorrow. Tonight. Whenever you want. Yes. William kissed her then. Exhausted, desperate, real. A promise sealed in the worst moment of their lives. 4 a.m. Daniel's fever broke. Emma collapsed in relief. William caught her. And somewhere into the quiet house, 5 children slept safely, oblivious to the fact that their family had just changed forever. The news spread through Clearwater like wildfire. William Thornton was marrying the young woman from Missouri, the one everyone had assumed was just hired help. Emma heard the whispers when she went to town for supplies, saw the looks, the judgment. She is just a girl. What does she know about raising children? I heard she was sold to him, like livestock. It has not even been 2 years since Catherine passed. Shameful. Emma held her head high and kept walking. She had learned long ago that people would always talk, always judge. What mattered was not what they said. What mattered was the truth she knew in her heart. William found her in the barn that evening sorting through papers for the wedding. I heard what they said in town. I do not care what they said. I care. He pulled her close. That woman saved my son's life. She has saved all of us. And she is going to be my wife, whether they approve or not. Emma leaned against him, feeling safe for the first time in her life. There is something I need to tell you, William said after a long moment. Something I should have mentioned before. He pulled out an old photograph. Emma took it, studied the faded image. A young man, maybe 18, standing with a woman and a little girl. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. That is my mother. William's face went pale. What? This woman? Emma pointed with a trembling finger. That is my mother, Grace Harper. And this is me. I was maybe 4 years old. The truth spilled out then. 20 years ago, William had been a ranch hand in Missouri. Had worked one summer for John and Grace Harper. They had fed him, treated him like family, saved him when he was starving and broke. Your mother talked about you constantly. William's voice was thick with memory. Her little Emma. She said you were going to do great things. My parents died when I was 12. Emma whispered. Fever took them both. And you went to live with Victoria, who never wanted me. They sat in silence, understanding the impossible connection, the thread that had tied their lives together across 20 years and 1,000 miles. It is like Catherine and your mother planned this, William said finally, from beyond. Or maybe it is just proof that kindness comes back around. The wedding was planned for the following week. Hannah came to Emma's room carrying a bundle of white fabric. I want you to wear this. Emma unfolded the dress. Catherine's wedding dress. Hannah, I cannot. That is your mother's. Mama would want Papa to be happy. Hannah's voice was steady. She told me so before she died. She said someone would come who would make him smile again. She said I should be happy for him when it happened. She paused, then pulled out a small piece of paper. I found this in the dress, hidden in the hem. Emma read the note written in Catherine's careful hand. To the woman who wears this dress, thank you for loving my family. Take care of them, and know that I am grateful. Emma could not speak, could only pull Hannah into her arms and hold her, while they both cried. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and cold. Sophie came to Emma's room before sunrise. Are you scared? A little. Are you? No. I am happy. Sophie's voice was soft. Mama told me this would happen, before she went to heaven. She said someone would come and make Papa smile again. She said I should be happy for them. Your mama was very smart. She was the smartest. Sophie smiled. But you are smart too. Different smart. Brave smart. The ceremony was simple. The small church in Clearwater. The whole town attending, equal parts curious and supportive. Emma walked down the aisle on Benjamin's arm. The boy had offered shyly that morning. I will walk with you, Mama Emma, if you want. I would be honored, Ben. William stood at the altar watching her approach, his face transformed by something Emma had never seen there before. Joy. Pure, unguarded joy. The Reverend began the traditional vows, to have and to hold, in sickness and in health. But when it was Emma's turn, she added something more. And I take your children as my own. Her voice rang clear through the small church. Hannah, Benjamin, Sophie, Daniel, and Rosie. I promise to love them, protect them, and care for them as if I had given birth to them myself. I promise to honor their mother's memory and teach them about the woman who loved them first. I promise to be their Mama Emma today and every day until my last breath." Hannah sobbed openly. The entire congregation wiped their eyes. "That is not in the regular vows," the Reverend said, clearly moved. "It is in mine," Emma replied. "By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss your bride." William pulled Emma into his arms and kissed her like she was the answer to every prayer he had forgotten he was praying. The children cheered, the town celebrated, and somewhere perhaps the ghost of Catherine Thornton smiled. That night, William took Emma to the field where they had scattered Catherine's ashes. The moon was full, turning the snow to silver. "I want you to meet her properly," William said, "and I want her to meet you." He knelt in the snow. Emma knelt beside him. "Hey, Catherine." William's voice was soft. "I brought someone. This is Emma. She is my wife now, our children's mother. She found all your notes, Maggie. She has been following them, taking care of the kids the way you wanted, the way you would have." He paused, his voice breaking. "I did not forget you. I could never forget you. But my heart is bigger than I thought. There is room for both of you in there. There always will be." Emma spoke then. "Hello, Catherine. I wish I had known you. Your children talk about you every day. They miss you so much. I promise I will take care of them. I promise I will love them the way you love them. And I promise I will love your husband, not instead of you, but alongside you." The wind picked up swirling snow around them in a gentle spiral, warm despite the winter cold. "She approves," William whispered. Emma leaned against her husband, surrounded by moonlight and snow, and the blessing of a woman who had loved this family first. She belonged. She was chosen. She was home. And that was worth more than all the gold in the world. The wagon appeared 3 weeks after the wedding, cutting through the late winter snow like a blade. Emma was in the kitchen kneading bread dough when Hannah called from the window. "Mama? Emma, someone is coming." Emma wiped flour from her hands and moved to look. Her stomach dropped. "That is my aunt's wagon." The children gathered around her instinctively. William came in from the barn, his eyes narrowing at the approaching vehicle. "Stay inside," he said to the children. Then to Emma, "Do you want me to send her away?" Emma straightened her spine. "No, I will talk to her." Victoria Harper climbed down from the wagon slowly. She had aged years in the few months since Emma had left Missouri. Her face was gaunt, her movements stiff with something more than cold. "Emma May." "It is Emma Thornton now," Victoria flinched. "I know, I heard. That is why I came. You came all this way to tell me you disapprove of my marriage." "No," Victoria's voice cracked. "I came to tell you I was wrong." The words hung in the frozen air between them. Emma felt William's solid presence at her back, felt the children watching from the windows. "Robert is dead," Victoria continued. "Fever took him 3 weeks ago. I am sorry for your loss." "Are you?" Victoria looked up with red-rimmed eyes. "Because you have every right not to be. Robert was the reason you were sent away, Emma, not me. I was weak, but he was cruel." She pulled a folded letter from her coat. "He wrote this before he died. Delirious with fever, consumed with guilt. He confessed everything. How he forced me to send you away because he was jealous of how much I loved your mother's memory. How he threatened to leave me penniless if I did not comply. How he made me into someone I never wanted to be." Emma took the letter. Robert's shaky handwriting detailed years of manipulation and cruelty. "I chose a man over my own niece." Victoria's tears fell freely now. "My sister's daughter. Grace would be ashamed of me. I am ashamed of me." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you deserve to know the truth. And because I wanted to see with my own eyes that you are happy." Victoria looked past Emma to the house, to the children's faces in the windows, to William standing protective at Emma's side. "You found a family, a real family." "I did." Emma's voice was steady. "And they found me. Your mother would be so proud." Victoria wiped her eyes. "She always said you were extraordinary. I should have believed her." There was a long silence. Then Emma spoke words she had not planned to say. "I forgive you." Victoria's head snapped up. "What, I forgive you, not because you deserve it or because what you did was right, but because I do not want to carry anger anymore." Emma gestured to the house behind her. "Because everything that happened led me here, and I would not trade this for anything. Grace really did raise you right. Victoria managed a weak smile. I came prepared to beg your forgiveness and found you already offering it. Where will you go now? Back to Missouri. Try to build something decent from what is left. Victoria climbed back onto her wagon. But I wanted you to know, your mother loved you more than life itself. She talked about you every day right up until the fever took her. And she made me promise to take care of you. Emma's throat tightened. I broke that promise. Victoria's voice was barely audible. But you took care of yourself. And you found people who see what I should have seen all along. Aunt Victoria, the older woman paused. You can write if you need to. Victoria nodded, unable to speak. Then the wagon pulled away, disappearing into the white landscape. William's hand found Emma's shoulder. You are more forgiving than I would be. Forgiveness is not for her. Emma leaned against him. It is for me, so I can move forward without looking back. The children rushed out, surrounding them both. Is she really gone? Hannah asked. Really gone, Emma confirmed. And we are really staying. Daniel hugged her legs. Forever and ever, forever and ever. As winter released its grip and spring crept across Montana, Emma discovered another of Catherine's notes. This one was tucked inside a seed packet in the pantry. Plant these in the field where I will rest. Let the children run through wildflowers every spring. Let them remember that beauty can grow from grief. Emma showed William the note that evening. She was planning even this. His voice was thick with emotion. Planning for a future she knew she would not see. Then we should honor her wishes. When the snow finally melted, they made it a family expedition. All 7 of them walked to the field where Catherine's ashes had been scattered. The ground was soft and ready, the first green shoots already pushing through. We will plant a tree first, William announced. Something that will grow tall and strong. Something that will be here long after we are all gone. What kind of tree? Benjamin asked. A cottonwood, Emma said. They grow fast and live for centuries. They dug the hole together. Even little Rosie helped her chubby hands, moving dirt one handful at a time. When the sapling was planted, William stepped back. We should name it, I know. Daniel jumped up and down. We should call it Hope, because that is what Mama Emma gave us. Hannah looked at Emma with shining eyes. That is perfect. Hope it is. William agreed. They planted Catherine's seeds around the tree. Wildflower seeds that would bloom blue and purple and yellow every spring. A living memorial that would grow and change and endure. Emma stood at the edge of the field, watching her family work together. William showed Benjamin how to pack the soil properly. Hannah helped Sophie scatter seeds in careful patterns. Daniel ran in circles with Rosie, both of them laughing. This was what Catherine had wanted. Not to be forgotten, but to be remembered with joy instead of only grief. Not to be replaced, but to have her love continue through someone else's hands. That night, Emma woke to find William watching her in the moonlight streaming through their bedroom window. What are you thinking? She asked. I am thinking about how Catherine used to say that love does not divide. It multiplies. Emma waited. I loved her. William continued. I will always love her, but loving you does not make that love smaller. It just makes my heart bigger. He took Emma's hand and placed it over his chest. There is room for both of you here, and room for the children, and room for whatever comes next. Whatever comes next might come sooner than you think. William's eyes widened. Emma, are you? I think so. Emma smiled. It is early yet, but yes, I think we are going to have a baby. William pulled her close, his face buried in her hair. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for giving us a future. You gave me a future too. Do not forget that. They held each other in the quiet darkness, surrounded by sleeping children and the ghost of a woman who had blessed this union with her final breaths. The pregnancy confirmed itself over the following weeks. Emma's body changed in small ways that only she noticed at first. Then Hannah caught her being sick one morning. Mama Emma, are you ill? No, sweetheart, not ill, just expecting. Hannah's face lit up. A baby. We are going to have a new baby. We are. The news spread through the house like wildfire. Benjamin tried to look mature and unconcerned, but kept finding excuses to ask Emma questions about when the baby would arrive and what it might need. Sophie started singing to Emma's belly every night. Daniel insisted on making a crown of dandelions for the baby to wear when it was born. Even Rosie seemed to understand something important was happening. She would pat Emma's stomach gently and babble in her toddler language. William was transformed. The hard edges that grief had carved into him softened further. He watched Emma with wonder, helped her with tasks that were becoming difficult, made sure she ate enough, and rested often. "You are going to wear yourself out fussing over me," Emma protested one evening. Catherine almost died having Rosie. William's voice was quiet. "I could not save her then. I will not lose you now. You will not lose me." Emma took his face in her hands. "I am healthy and strong, and I have something Catherine did not have." "What is that I have you?" "Knowing what to watch for, knowing when to call the doctor, knowing that you will not let anything happen to me or this baby." William kissed her forehead. "You have more faith in me than I have in myself. Then I will have enough faith for both of us." Spring gave way to summer. The wildflowers bloomed in the field just as Catherine had planned. Blues and purples and yellows carpeting the ground around the hope tree. They had a picnic there one Sunday. All 7 of them, plus Emma's growing belly. William spread blankets on the ground while Hannah unpacked the food. The children made flower crowns and ran through the blooms, their laughter carrying on the warm wind. Emma sat with her back against the hope tree, her hand on her stomach, watching her family. "What are you thinking?" William asked, settling beside her. "I am thinking about a train ride, about $40, about how the worst thing that ever happened to me led to the best thing." She looked at him. "I am thinking about how I came here expecting nothing and found everything. You found a broken family and put it back together." "No," Emma shook her head. "We put each other back together. That is what families do." Daniel came running up with a flower crown. "For you, Mama Emma. So you and the baby both look pretty." Emma let him place it on her head. "Thank you, sweetheart." "Do you think the baby will like flowers?" Daniel asked seriously. "I think the baby will love flowers, just like your first mama did." Daniel considered this. "Then the baby will have 2 mamas, one in heaven and one here. That is pretty good." "That is very good," Emma agreed. As summer deepened, Emma found more notes. Catherine had hidden them everywhere. In books, behind loose boards, tucked into the hems of curtains. Each one was a gift. Practical advice mixed with love and hope. "The baby will cry at night. Do not feel guilty about being tired. You are doing your best, and that is enough. William will worry. He lost me and will fear losing you. Be patient with his fear. Hannah will want to help with everything. Let her. It will make her feel needed. Thank you for being here. Thank you for loving them. Thank you for keeping our family whole." Emma collected the notes in a box. Someday she would show them to her children. Someday they would understand the ghost who had guided her through those first difficult months. But for now, they were her private communion with a woman she had never met, but felt she knew intimately. Early autumn brought the baby. Emma's labor started on a Tuesday afternoon. The children were gathering the last of the summer vegetables when she felt the first contraction. "William," she called, "it is time." He went pale. "Now?" "But it is too early. You said October. Babies come when they want to come." William sent Benjamin for Dr. Morrison, while Hannah took charge of the younger children with practice calm. "It is all right," Hannah told Sophie and Daniel. "Mama Emma is strong. She will be fine." But Sophie's eyes were wide with fear. What if she dies like our first Mama Hannah knelt down to her sister's level? Mama Emma is not going to die. She promised she would stay forever. And Mama Emma keeps her promises. The labor was long, longer than William could bear watching. He paced outside the room while Dr. Morrison and Hannah worked with Emma. But when the baby finally came crying loud and strong, William burst through the door. "A girl." Dr. Morrison announced, cleaning the infant, healthy and perfect. Emma, exhausted but glowing, reached for her daughter. "What should we name her?" William sat beside them, his finger touching the baby's tiny hand. "Catherine, if that is all right with you. Catherine Hope, for the woman who made this all possible." Catherine Hope Thornton. Emma tested the name. "It is perfect." The children came in one by one to meet their new sister. Hannah held her first tears streaming down her face. "Hello, little Catherine. I am your big sister, Hannah. I am going to teach you everything." Benjamin was next, his serious face breaking into a smile. "She is so small. All babies are small," Emma reminded him gently. Sophie sang softly the same lullaby her mother had sung to her. Daniel placed his carefully saved dandelion crown on the baby's blanket, and Rosie touched the baby's face with wondering fingers. "Sister," she said. Her first clear word. The family stayed together in that room until the sun set and rose again, talking softly, marveling at the new life, feeling the presence of the woman who had brought them all together. When the baby was 3 days old, Hannah brought Emma one final note. I found this in Mama's Bible. In the book of Ruth. I think she meant for whoever came after her to find it. Emma read Catherine's final message to the woman who came after me. You are reading this because you stayed. You did not run when things got hard. You loved my children when they were difficult. You honored my memory instead of erasing it. Thank you. Thank you for being strong enough to love a broken family. Thank you for being brave enough to build something new from what I left behind. My children are yours now, not by blood but by choice. And that makes you their true mother. Love them well. Love my William well. You are exactly who they needed. Exactly who he needed. And I suspect exactly who you needed to become. I am watching from wherever I am, and I am grateful. With all my love, Catherine Thornton. Emma could not speak through her tears. William read over her shoulder, his own eyes wet. She knew. He whispered. All along she knew, or she hoped. Emma managed, and her hope found me. 1 year later, Emma stood in the field of wildflowers with baby Catherine in her arms. The hope tree had grown tall, its leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. Around it, the flowers bloomed in riot of color. William stood beside her, his arm around her waist. Hannah, now 12, was teaching Rosie how to make flower crowns. Benjamin read to Sophie under the tree's shade. Daniel ran in circles, his stuffed horse still his constant companion. They had come for their annual picnic, to tend the tree, to remember Catherine, to celebrate the family they had become. What are you thinking? William asked. Emma looked at her husband, her children, her life. I am thinking about a girl who was sold for $40, who thought she was worth nothing, who believed no one would ever want her. She shifted baby Catherine to her other arm. And I am thinking about how wrong she was, how love found her in the most unexpected place, how a ghost guided her, how a broken family became whole again. William kissed her temple. You saved us, Emma. No. Emma shook her head. We saved each other. That is what love does. Daniel came running up, breathless and excited. Mama, Emma, look. The hope tree has new branches. It is growing just like our family. Emma smiled. That is exactly right, sweetheart. She looked around at the field, at the tree, at the flowers blooming where Catherine's ashes rested, at the family playing and laughing and living. This was her legacy. Not just the children she was raising, but the love she was teaching them, the memories she was preserving, the future she was building on the foundation of the past. Emma Grace Thornton had learned that worth was not measured in dollars, that families were built through choice as much as blood, that love, real love, could multiply instead of divide. She had been sold for $40, but she had been chosen for forever. And in the end, that made all the difference. The wind picked up, swirling through the wildflowers, carrying the scent of summer and the promise of harvest to come. Emma felt it wrap around her like an embrace, like a blessing from a woman she had never met but would never forget, like coming home.